All right, here we go. Practice two-step equations. Let's get into it. Here's number one. 5c minus 10 equals 30. So we've covered one-step equations already. This time we have to perform one more operation, which is okay, but it's the same concept. So equal sign, we still draw that line to separate terms on the left side of the equation, such as the 5c and the negative 10. From terms on the right side, in this case, the positive 30. Now again, yes, I know it says 5c minus 10, but remember, we treat the minus as a negative, so we read it as 5c minus 10. We're looking at the negative 10. We want to get rid of negative 10 to get our variable c, in this case, all by itself. To do that, you see the operation is a negative, or subtraction. So we perform inverse operation. Opposite of subtracting is to add. Same concept as with one-step equations. Whatever you do on one, anything with on the 5c. That's going to still say 5c. Now our we know that when we have the same number with opposite signs, they will always give us a zero pair. So negative 10 plus 10 is 0. Don't put 0, just cross it out. Bring down our equal sign. And add on the right side, 30 plus 10 gives us 40. Last but not least, what operation are we looking at now? Well, it says 5c. And remember from one-step equations, when you have a number next to a variable, that's actually meaning multiplication. It's actually 5 times c. So that 5 we call the coefficient. Remember, coefficient is just a number that's multiplying our variable. We want to get rid of 5. So since it's multiplying 5 times c, we do inverse operations. Opposite of multiplying is to divide. Same concept, whatever we do on one side of the equation, we must do the same to the other. Divide that by 5 also. Now back to the left side, 5 divided by itself is 1. Don't put 1, just cancel them out. Bring down your variable c, and your equal sign. And 40 divided by 5 is 8, leaving our solution c equals 8, which is letter A. Okay, so each problem is going to pretty much follow the same format as steps. So number 2 says 3n plus 8 equals negative 28. First step, equal sign, still draw the line, nothing changed. Now we look for the operation for the constant, so that says plus 8, so we're adding. So we need to get rid of positive 8. Opposite of positive is negative, so we subtract 8. And whatever we do to one side of the equation, we balance it by doing the same exact thing to the other. Okay, 3n, we haven't touched it yet. That's okay, let's just bring it down. So now our equation says 3n. Bring down our equal sign. Now remember, from adding and subtracting integers, if you have negative 28 and you subtract 8, remember when you're subtracting, sometimes you may see, but either way, subtracting integers, it changes from a subtraction problem into an addition problem using KCC. So again, you don't actually have to do this. It's not wrong, but you don't have to do it. What you can do, if you remember your rules for integers, if you have the same signs, you're going to add them. So I see negative 28 minus 8. Again, think of it as negative 28 and negative 8. So we have the same signs. So we're going to add 28 and 8, which is 36, and keep the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So I'm looking at the 28. That's the greater absolute value. It says negative, so we keep that negative. Now our problem says 3n, sorry, 1 second, equals negative 36. So now we're looking at a multiplication. Is our next operation that we see. Three. Do the same to the other. So left side 3 divided by itself is 1. Just cancel them out. You don't have to put 1. But you do have to bring down that letter n, our variable, and equals. Now right side, be careful. This is negative 36 divided by a positive 3. So anytime we multiply or divide and the integers have different signs, it's going to be a negative. So negative divided by positive is negative. So our answer n equals negative 12, which is choice D. Okay, number 3. This time we have a fraction. Okay, changing up a little. V over 5 minus 3 equals 2. Same steps, equal sign, draw the line. Next, we want to get our variable v by itself, isolated on the left side. But if you notice, it says minus 3, or negative 3. So the inverse, or opposite of subtracting, is addition. So we need to add 3. And whatever we do on one side, balance by doing the same to the other. Right now we haven't touched the v divided by 5. Let's just bring that down. So v over 5. Our 3's are going to cancel. Since that's the 0 pair, negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Don't put 0, just cancel. Bring down our equal sign, and 2 plus 3 is 5. But we're not done yet. We should know that, since it is a two-step equation. This time, though, we have a fraction, v over 5. Or, if you want to read it, v divided by 5. So remember, anytime we have a variable by itself, and we don't see a number, just remember it does have a number in front. It's an invisible 1. That's its coefficient. So it's really 1 over 5. And if we remember, if we don't like dealing with fractions, we can eliminate it by multiplying, since a fraction is division. So we're going to use inverse operation, multiply by the reciprocal. So remember, reciprocal is just switching those two numbers. So instead of 1 over 5, the numerator and denominator switch. So it's 5 over 1. Whatever you do on one side, balance by doing the same to the other side. All right, so now we have 5 over 1. Make that whole number into a fraction also. Put it over 1. And now on the left side, again, when we multiply by the reciprocal, we'll get rid of everything except our variable, which is what we want. So 5 divided by itself is 1. You don't have to put 1. 1 divided by itself is also 1. Same idea, don't put 1. But bring down that letter v, bring down your equal sign. And now on the right side, we have 5 over 1 times 5 over 1. So we can multiply our numerators. 5 times 5 is 25. And multiply our denominators. 1 times 1 is 1. And let's just simplify that. So V equals 25 divided by 1 is just 25. So answer for this one is choice B. Okay, so we did the first three. We have a few more to go, but they're pretty much going to be the same steps. Number 4 says 14 minus 6m equals 53. All right. This one, again, we want to get our letter m by itself, but if you look, we see a positive 14 on the same side. So equal sign, let's draw the line. Now we want to get rid of the positive 14. So the inverse or opposite operation is to subtract 14. And we need to balance the equation. Whatever we do on one side, do the same exact thing to the other. 14 minus itself is 0. Don't put 0, just cancel them out. Bring down our, now be careful. Remember the problem said 14 minus 6m. So we're treating that as a negative 6. So don't just bring down 6m because your answer is going to be incorrect. Bring down that negative. It attaches with the 6. So the coefficient is actually negative 6. So negative 6m equals, now 53 minus 14 gives us 39. So this is where we're at now. And what operation do we see? Again, be careful on this. This is not a subtraction. Let me just point it out right here. So instead, we should see that as negative 6 times m. So that's really multiplication. So since we're looking at multiplication, we get rid of that by doing its inverse operation of division. And the coefficient, again, that number in front of the m is negative 6. So I see some people make this mistake. They just put 6. They forget that sign. Please make sure you have the sign so you don't make that mistake. So negative 6. And whatever you do on one side, do the same to the other side. Balance that equation. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. Don't put the 1, just cancel it out. Bring down m and equal. And 39 divided by negative 6. So we have a positive 39 divided by a negative. Just remember, when we're dividing or multiplying with opposite signs, you will get a negative. So negative 39 divided by 6 should be 6.5 or 6.5, but let's just double check that as we should when we're doing our work. So 39 divided by negative 6, yep, equals negative 6.5. So just remember, you can keep it as a decimal or you can write it as a fraction. So I'll just also put that here, or negative 6.5. Some people like fractions, some like decimals. They're both equivalent, which means they are equal to each other. They're both correct. So whichever one you prefer, you write that. Let's clean that up. All right, number 5. So 5, this time, we might have an extra step actually in this one. 3 times 5 minus 2x equals 39. So there are a couple ways we can do this one. This one actually has more than 2 steps. And I'll show you both ways. You can decide which way you like better. I put this one on just to kind of, mix it up a little bit, because we will eventually get to multi-step equations, which is more than 2 steps. So one way to do it is, if you see the parentheses, that means to multiply, and that's distributive property, which we've covered before. So okay, equal sign, draw the line. To get rid of the parentheses, we can multiply. Again, this is not the only way, this is one way. 3 times 5 is 15. So remember, the distributive property means we are multiplying or distributing the terms outside of the parentheses, and we're multiplying them by the terms inside of parentheses. So you see I drew the arrow. 3 times 5 is 15. And we have to do it one more time since there's another term on the inside. No, it's not 2x, but look, it says minus 2x, so that for us means negative 2x. So we have to multiply the positive 3 again, this time times a, notice I'm pointing to it, negative 2x. So positive 3 is 8, and 3 times 2 is 6, so I'm going to get negative 6x. Okay, bring down our equal sign. 39 we haven't touched yet, so bring it down. So now it reads 15 minus 6x equals 39. Okay, what we want to do now is get x by itself, but positive 15. Positive is a negative, so we can subtract 15 and keep it balanced. Whatever we do on one side, do the same to the other. 15 minus itself is 0. Don't put 0, you could just cancel that out. The negative 6x, we didn't do anything with that yet. Let's bring it down. Negative 6x. Again, please make sure you bring down the negative. The same as in number 4. It's not just 6x, it's negative 6x. Okay, then we have our equal sign, and 39 minus 15 is 24. Okay, so now what operation do we see? Well, we should see multiplication because it says negative 6x, or negative 6 times x. So since we see multiplication, we do the inverse operation, which is to divide. And again, no mystery what we divide by. We divide by the coefficient. So what number is in front of our x? Negative x. So whatever we do on one side, we do the same exact thing to the other. Divide that by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by itself is 1. Don't put 1, just cancel. Now on the left side, we finally have got x by itself. Bring it down. Bring down our equal sign. And right side, positive 24 divided by negative 6. So remember, just like in question 4, positive divided by negative is a negative. So they have different signs. 24 divided by 6 is 4, so x equals negative 4, which is choice C. Okay, now I mentioned there was another way to do this problem. For some people, they may like another way, but as math, there's more than one way. So another way, again, you don't have to do both. I'll show you both, but you choose the one that you're more comfortable with. So for example, if we have this same problem, I'm going to do something slightly different, but we're going to get the same answer. So what we can do, equal sign, draw the line, that's the same. But now, if we're looking and we see this 3 here on the outside, right? So instead of distributing like we did, let me just draw our arrow over here, we did 3 times 5 and 3 times negative 2x. Well, if we're looking at that 3, what we can do, since it's 3 times 5 minus 2x, we know that we're looking at multiplication. So right away, what we can do is we can divide by that number 3. Whatever you do on one side, do the same to the other side. All right, so the 3's will cancel. But what this actually does is the numbers get a lot smaller, so we just bring down the 5 minus 2x that we had, bring down our equal sign, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. So if you look at what we had here, 15 minus 6x equals 39 versus this other different step we did first, Now you'll see the numbers are a lot smaller. Instead of 15, we have 5. Instead of negative 6x, we have negative 2x. And instead of 39, we have 13. Now, if you think about it, that also makes sense because these numbers over here are actually just divided by 3. If we do 5 times 3, look, we get the 15. Negative 2 times 3, look, 13 times 3, look, 39. But the numbers are smaller here in this other way I'm showing here because instead of multiplying by 3, that 5 minus 2x, we just divided by 3 as our first step. So let's just finish this out. This way you can see it's the same answer. We have the positive 5, so the opposite of that is negative 5. Do the same to both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0. Just cancel it out. Bring down that negative 2x equals 13 minus 5 is 8. And last step, we're looking at negative 2 times x, so multiplying. Inverse of that is to divide. We divide by the coefficient, negative 2, and do it to the other side as well. Negative 2 divided by itself is 1. Cancel it out. Bring down x equals negative 4. 8 divided by negative 2. So if you look at it, we get the same solution. Okay, but again, it's math. There's more than one way to do a problem. I showed you 2 different ways. Those are not the only 2, but use the one that you are most comfortable with. Okay, so I'll leave both of them up on the screen as we head down into number 6. Okay, so we're halfway through. I know this video is kind of long. It's just I'm going pretty slow since we're introducing 2-step equations now instead of 1. And I just want to make sure that you're understanding it. Again, you can always pause, you can replay it, rewind, or ask me questions. All right, halfway done. Here's number 6. So now we have a word problem. It says Jamie bought a soda for $3 and 6 candy bars. If she spent a total of $15, how much did each candy bar cost? So now this time, it's not giving us an equation. We have to read this passage here, and we have to create our own equation. So what does it say? It says Jamie bought a soda for $3. Okay, let's put 3. And, there's a keyword. And means add. So plus, because she bought something else, 6 candy bars. So 6, but it's not telling us how much the candy bar costs. So if we don't know in math, we need to put a variable. Remember, a variable, a letter represents an unknown number. You can literally choose any of the 26 letters of the alphabet. It really doesn't make a difference. But since we're speaking about candy bars, let's just put C for candy. That's fine. But again, you could choose whatever letter you want. So 3 plus 6C. What else? If she spent a total... Oh, there's another one. Total means equal sign. So let's put that because something and something else equals a total of something, right? So put equals. And she spent a total of $15. So that is how we can look for certain words and kind of figure out what goes where in our equation. So 3 plus 6C equals 15. All right. Now it's just a 2-step equation. Now what we can do, same thing, equal sign, let's draw a line. We want to get C by itself, but we notice that there's a positive 3 on that left side. So instead of adding, we need to do the inverse and subtract 3. Whatever we do on one side, do to the other, minus 3. So now left side, 3 minus 3 is 0. Don't put 0, just cancel. 6C, we haven't done anything with that. Let's just bring that down. and equals. And 15 minus 3 is 12. Now what operation do we see? Well, it says 6c. And from the earlier problems, we should remember that a number next to a variable is multiplication, 6 times c. So the inverse of multiplying is to divide. What do we divide by? We should also remember, divide by the coefficient. So whatever number is in front of our variable, in this case the number 6, divide by that because we want that to go away. Now balance the equation. Whatever we do on one side, do the same to the other. Divide by 6. Okay, left side. 6 divided by itself is 1. Don't put 1, just cancel it out. Bring down our variable c and equals. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. So how much did each candy bar cost? Let's just represent that. To what? Be specific, $2. All right. And that was 6. Numbers 7 and 8 are pretty much the same thing, where it's giving us information and we have to form the equation. So number 7, Michelle needs $1,800 to buy a used car. Okay. She already has saved $1,065. She earns $12.25 per hour working as a supermarket stock person. How many hours does she need to work at her job in order to buy the car? All right, first thing, step by step. She needs $1,800 for the car, so that sounds to me like a total. So total doesn't always have to go at the end, like how we put it here in number 6. We can start with the total, that's fine, but just put an equal sign right after. So $1,800 equals, okay, she's already saved $1,065. Okay, 1065. And she's also earning $12.25 per hour. So since that's another source of income, that's plus 12.25 per hour. How many hours does she need to work? We don't know. It doesn't tell us. So again, just like number 6, when we don't know the value of something, we can use a variable to represent it. So instead of hours, let's just put H for hours. So now our equation is set. $1,800 equals 1065 plus 12.25H. All right, equal sign, draw the line. Okay, now we have the variable, but there's another term next to it, $1,065. Now that's positive, so we want to subtract, since that's the inverse operation. And whatever we do to one side, we must do the same to the other side. Okay, left side, $1,800 minus 1065 should be 735. Let's just double check. 1800 minus 1065. Yep, 735 equals. So now right side, 1065 minus itself is 0. Just cancel it out. We haven't used our 12.25H yet, so let me slide that over. Let's just bring that down. So 12.25H. And now we should be seeing just one step. In this case, it says 12.25H. Remember, like we've been practicing all along, a number next to a variable tells us that we are multiplying. So we see multiplication, and we must perform the inverse or opposite operation. Remember, equations are all about undoing what you see. So that's why instead of multiplying, we do the opposite, divide. And we divide by the coefficient, 1225. Whatever we do on one side, we do the same thing to the other. So also divide that by 12.25. We have our calculator ready. Let's use it. 735 divided by 12.25. That's 60. So 60, bring down equals. Right side, 12.25 divided by itself is 1. Don't put 1, just cancel. But we do have the letter H by itself. Bring that down. So 60 equals H. What this means is Michelle will need to work for 60 hours. So she must work for 60 hours to buy the car. Remember, we always want to answer the question when we feel that we've found the solution. That's okay, but always bring it back. All right, so that's number 7, and we have one more to go. Again, I know this video is a bit long, but there are timestamps. Check the description, and if you need a particular problem, just click the link in the description, and it will take you right to the problem. Okay, last but not least is a challenge problem. So I'm not going to read through the whole problem since it's already a long video. What I will do is I will just copy the equation that it does give us. 12 times $900.50 plus Q equals 16,401. Now, with something like this, I know it says challenge, but if you're looking at the parentheses right here, you should notice that it's kind of similar. Let me just scroll back up here a little bit. Kind of similar to problem number 5. Look, that also has some parentheses. So again, you have 2 different methods for how to solve this that I've shown you. The first one is I'll highlight here. We can use the distributive property and multiply the term outside of parentheses by whatever's inside. Or if you don't want to do that, the other way to do it is just to divide by the number on the outside so that the numbers become a lot smaller right away. Again, you decide which one you're more comfortable with. Since I know more people tend to distribute, I would say I would distribute for this one, but again, the numbers will be pretty big. So I will just show you the other way for this one. But again, if you distribute and you follow the right steps, you will get the correct answer as well. But equal sign, let's draw the line. Now I'm seeing the 12 on the outside. Again, if you're comfortable distributing, yes, you can multiply 12 times $900.50 and 12 times the positive Q. Nothing wrong with that. However, I'm looking at the numbers and they are pretty large already. So what I will do is the second way I showed you for the other problem. So let's just divide by the number on the outside. So we're going to divide by 12 on both sides, there and there. 12 divided by itself is 1. Don't have to put 1, but just bring down 900.50 plus Q equals. Now on the right side, again, we can just use our calculator. 16,401 divided by 12 is $1,366.75. And now, this is a one-step problem now. So 900.50 is positive. So what we want to do is inverse operation. So instead of adding that, we want to subtract it. So we get Q all by itself on the left side. And do the same thing to the other side. Subtract 900.50. Left side, $900.50 minus itself is 0. Cancel that out. Let's bring down our Q. Bring down equals. And last but not least, let's subtract. So 1,366.75 minus 900.50. You can use your calculator for it, but this one seems pretty straightforward. 75 minus 50 is 25, so that's 0.25. Bring down the 6's, and 13 minus 9 is 4. So our answer for this, remember it's speaking about dollars, is $466.25. Okay, so that is question 8. Again, I know this was a long video, but thank you if you stayed to the end for watching. Make sure you ask me questions if you have. Feel free also to rewatch this, to pause it, and make sure you practice. Catch you on the next one.